person, what your brain is telling you is making you miserable. Like, you're no good. The sky is going to fall apart, fall on you tomorrow. Your girlfriend's going to leave you. You're going to leave your job. You're no good, whatever. And that's what it is, depression, how it makes you miserable. And so psychologists, psychotherapists are doing exactly this, that they are training you not to identify with the voice of your brain. But this is also important in lifestyle. In like you can go to a psychologist if you're depressed, but psychologists don't treat the caveman syndrome, because it's not in the diagnostic manual, right? But the caveman syndrome, I mean, look at all the bullying, look at all the spouse abuse, look at all the aggression so much. There was a $2 billion settlement at the American Football League, people butting into each other. I mean, this is real primitive instinct, and mindfulness makes you aware of these primitive urges, and you don't have to do it if you're aware of it. You can talk back to your brain,
Yeah, that's interesting.
I can actually, I'm pretty good at doing that sometimes. I mean, I have a pretty high stress job, which could fucking run away from me a lot of days. I mean, you know what I'm dealing with out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm pretty good at
letting it go,
reeling it all in. Yeah. And I mean, I've always, when I'm pissed off, I mean, look out.
Yeah.
But I can usually shake it off, within at best, maybe 10 or 20 minutes, and sometimes if it's something bad, maybe never more than a day, though. Like, I never dwell on anything longer than a day. And usually minor things I can, especially if it's sunny out. If it's sunny out, it's way easier to forget your problem.
Yeah, you bet. For sure. Well, it's true. Dwelling on these things, like, I hate to use him as an example, but my dad was an angry guy. I mean, he was angry at the cat, the dog, his kids, his wife, his friends, drivers on the road. And he stewed in that anger. He never questioned it. And that was him, Anger was him. And I think everybody has a measure of mindfulness. With some of them, like you described, a perfect example of, letting go after a while or whatever. I think many people have a measure of mindfulness, except that in mindfulness meditation, we train to make that measure a bigger measure,
Yeah. And then that would lead into some of the other Buddhist principles that you've probably taught about, like compassion and detachment and like the equanimity and not judging people. Can you talk a bit about how those other principles are related?
For sure. You're hitting on my favorite subjects there. Now, there's just a minute ago, we were talking about letting go. But the positive emotions, the Buddha has been sitting. What has he been doing? Like, he's been sitting in his books and his images on the internet. What he's actually doing is cultivating the garden of his heart. He's been cultivating positive emotions. So he's filled, that's his default mental state: love, compassion, peace. When John Lennon talked about love and peace, those are not the only positive emotions. Those were shorthand for love, peace, compassion, gratitude, inspiration, joy, serenity. There's a few more. Confidence, a measure of pride. Barbara Ferguson, the psychologist, has 10 positive emotions. I have a couple more to add. Contentment is one she doesn't use.
Yeah, I like that. That's a big one, I think.
What about elation?
Yes, she uses the word awe, like an awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so would that be the same as, like, I think, I'm thinking of the documentary, I can't remember what it's called, but where he talks about where he plays, like, he plays you a video of someone, like, crashing their bike or something, and everyone gets that feeling, and then he explains to you what that feeling is, and then he shows you I think it's like the little kid sees his daddy, surprises him coming home from war early or from the military or whatever, and he's like, that feeling you get in your chest, that was his way of proving that humans are not bred to
not bred
eat
to
each other, dog eat dog.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, every thought has a color. Every thought has a color. Like, think of a person right now, and let an image of a person come to your mind. That image is accompanied by an emotion. And we're aware of the picture, like, okay, this is Dan, right? This is his picture in front of me. But often there is a feeling that comes together with the picture. It could be a feeling of, like, you really like that guy, okay? Or it could be a negative feeling, like, I don't know.
Like he's angry or something.
Yeah. There was an American expat in my group once, and she said, "Okay, tell me how to love George Bush," and she floored me every time. I didn't know what to say, but but the thing is, I just mention that to give an example that there is a color, an emotional color, emotional tone that accompanies every image, friend, foe, whatever. And the idea is to become aware of the color that person comes in. And once you know that, you can paint that person a different color, paint him with loving colors, paint him, or if you can't manage loving colors, except at least in different colors, instead of negative colors, just paint him in different colors, neutral colors. At least it won't bother you anymore,
So is it like dark, bad, bright, good?
Yeah, if you like. There is something very interesting in what you say. According to psychologists who study positive psychology, the images of people we like and we love appear brighter in our minds. And the images of people we don't like or we're neutral to appear like less luminous, more faded. Not interesting. So there is something to what you say, for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if the color red is the color red my personal vibration or my personal feeling? And is Darren's color red different? Or do you think there's some correlation between the color red?
By itself, what I mean by color is emotional color, really.
Like a vibration kind of, or?
Like if Darren is fond of you, he'll think of you with glowing colors. Okay?
Yeah.
And
looking good, bud.
Yeah. So the idea is that you can practice, call up images of everybody. I don't know, the bank clerk, the bus driver, the people you know, and surround them with glowing colors, surrounding them with the emotional colors of appreciation. Everybody has something good about them, Find that and let that thought change the color that you see that person in. That's a practice.
And that leads into the non-judgmental part of Buddhism, right? Where you're really not taking things personally and not judging people for the negative things.
Yeah. Now, taking things personally, that's a whole field itself. But not judging is right on for sure. People, as well as that's also, a big issue in pain management. Like you have pain, we even judge the pain. We say this is awful. It shouldn't be like this. Will it ever go away? Is it cancer? Uh, and the judgment we have about the pain is often worse than the pain. It makes us suffer more than the pain itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big issue for sure.
Can you expand on the pain part? That's pretty close to my heart. So how can people detach from the pain?
Well, there are several ways. Right now, I have a course for cancer patients at a big hospital here, and this is a big issue, of course. The issue is one Buddhist practitioner put it this way. He said, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional."
Yeah.
What she meant was that, separation is painful, physical pain is painful, chemotherapy is painful, but sometimes we make stories about it that are even worse than the actual physical pain. Like, you know what I mean? I gave a few examples. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? I don't deserve this. This is so terrible. And so on and so forth. And that is what suffering is made of.
Being a victim?
Victim stories. You're right on. Right. Like animals don't seem to do that. Pain is pain. Death is death. Everything is so simple. We have really complicated minds for sure.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit more, but what do you think there?
I wonder if animals are that. I wonder if it's just different for them. You know what I mean?
I almost feel like they would heal better from injuries and stuff. Because
I wonder if it's more based on, I wonder if intelligence would be a marker of consciousness level. I mean, that seems to be our best guess. So then, like dolphins and must be feeling some similar emotions and things like that. But and then monkeys. They don't always seem so fucking good at controlling them either.
Yeah. But you see, animals don't know what death is. They have no conception of death, so they're not afraid of it. It just happens to them, and that's the end of the story, whatever. But we anticipate. You see, fear of death is probably worse than death. According to psychologists, 68% of us have really huge fear of death. And we suffer because of that. And I have been at the bedside of a family member. She was absolutely terrified of death. And animals don't have that because they do not anticipate. It just happens to them when it happens. When it's time, they go.
Yeah. Huh. So what do you think about the whole new age thing about vibrations? Like, we talk about colors, like seeing, different shades or brightnesses of colors when you look at people and all that. Is there a vibration that's correlated to that too? They talk about raise your vibration. You hear it so much in the new age healing background. And just lately, I've actually kind of almost had a little mini epiphany about how that might work. Like I kind of visualized it in my head. Like truly, if your vibrations were raised, and things were like finer tuned, that it wouldn't allow things to enter and penetrate the same way as if you had like a lower kind of negative vibration. What are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I tend to think that